From First Coast News, this is Good Morning Jacksonville.
Welcome in. So as folks get back on their feet after Hurricane Irma, there will be some new problems arising all around us. You could be filling your car with harmful fuel. That's just one issue. We're on your side with a live report on what you need to protect yourself from just such an issue. But good news this morning for people using the St. Johns River Ferry. It is now back open.
That is good news indeed. The service was suspended ahead of Hurricane Irma, we know, in that area, but now it is back open for its normal hours of operation. And in just 2 hours, Glynn County residents will be able to return home. There was an evacuation order before the storm, but again, at 8 o'clock, those folks can start to head back home. Just be careful because of the damage that's out there because of the storm. Right now, though, we want to check in with our storm expert meteorologist, Mike Franklin, for a look at today's forecast. Hey, Mike.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, watching Glynn County today, that's one of the areas that could see a shower, and yes, the heat and humidity on the increase. So we're about 5-10 degrees warmer than yesterday morning. You can really feel the air. That thickness is back. All right, so right now 75. Good morning, Orange Park. Mayport, Fernandina 75, where we confirmed 2 tornadoes on Amelia Island yesterday. Today, it's about the heat hampering cleanup efforts because look at these temperatures soaring into the 80s to near 90 degrees by 2 o'clock. And then you add another 5 to 10 degrees due to the humidity and the shade. Now, the rain chance is low for Jacksonville, but check out our precision forecast. Okay, so we got the low chance for Duval from White House to downtown Arlington. Runner index of 6, a heat index of 97. But once you get up into north of I-10, northern Nassau County, Camden, Glynn County, that's your chance and the best chance of some showers. We'll take a look at that with precision in your futurecast. But first, let's get to Lindsay in the VyStar Credit Union Traffic Center.
Hey, good morning, Mike. Good morning to all of you. Hope your Thursday is off to a great start. Things are looking pretty good on the roads this morning. One major issue that we're following, and that's for folks who are trying to get onto Amelia Island. The Browns Creek Bridge is closed while they do emergency construction to repair that. That is Heckscher Drive. All lanes there are blocked. So the detour for this just got a little bit easier about 2 minutes ago with the St. Johns River Ferry opening up. However, you can also take State Road 200 and use the Shave Bridge. And again, that St. Johns River Ferry is open right now. Lewis.
Lindsay, thank you. The people of St. Mary's, Georgia, banding together now to restore their city. Irma wreaking havoc along the river, destroying docks. As you can see, sending boats up into the marsh area. Look at this video and damage to that vessel specifically. First Coast News, Alex Ositis live on your side with more on what neighbors in Camden County will be doing to rebuild. Now, Alex, looks like there might have been a couple of tornadoes up that way.
Yeah, Lewis, and this is one of those docks that you mentioned. The wood here just piled up off onto the sidewalk near, that waterfront pavilion, that beautiful waterfront pavilion here in St. Mary's. And it's just part of the cleanup efforts that these folks here in St. Mary's are going to have to deal with after not only having Hurricane Irma's presence here, but also those possible tornadoes that you mentioned as well. So boats sunk in the harbor or crashed up against, the docks, or the poles actually that were part of the dock at this point. So still much more cleanup. Things keeping people here from having a normal life include gas shortages. The gas stations had been closed for several days, and actually we just saw on I-95 some fuel trucks getting off at this exit here in Camden County that we also took to get out to St. Mary's. So some good news for folks there needing to run their generators. Now here in Camden, as well as neighboring Glynn County, the schools have been closed all week. They plan to remain closed through Friday. They'll reassess and see when they can open up next week perhaps. Now major roads have been passable after neighbors spent hours cleaning up debris, moving trees out of the road. So here's one woman that we spoke with here in St. Mary's who says, it sounded very terrifying of that storm. Here's what she said.
The wind just was constant. And then it got this really eerie, high sound to it for a while.
Here in St. Mary's, folks, they've been able to see the damage to their town, their homes, but over in Glynn County, many people who evacuated haven't even been able to get back in the county. That is set to change, though, at 8 o'clock this morning when Glynn County reopens to everyone. Reporting live in St. Mary's, Georgia, Alex Ositis, First Coast News, on your side.
Thanks for that, Alex. Well, gas pumps are now coming back online as stations power up again, but state regulators are getting complaints about the quality of gas customers are receiving. First Coast News' Dorsina Drakeford is live in Spring Park with more on what you need to know before you fill up. Good morning, Dorsina.
Good morning. Now, bad gas is something you obviously do not want to run into. So right before Irma hit, you might have seen something like this, very similar. Saran wrap or bags like this covering gas pumps, letting you know that they're out of service, which means most, if not all, gas stations closed down. Now, the problem comes when the gas station owners didn't shut down the pumps properly before leaving shop. Now, if they didn't, there is a potential that the gas could have sediments in it or it could be waterlogged, and that's not really good for your car at all. So around the state, like you said, inspectors are trying to lessen the chances of you getting bad fuel. So here's what you need to look for to catch the problem before it does too much damage to your wallet or to your car. Your car's engine could be sluggish, or it could hesitate to start whenever you put that bad gas in there, or your engine light could even come on, and your car's engine could be in serious danger. We were told earlier that this could cost a lot of money to fix, so you could file a complaint if you run into something like this with the state. That's at 1-800-HELP-FLA. That's 1-800-HELP-FLA. State inspectors are going to be standing by waiting for those calls. Again, they are trying to patrol the area to make sure that gas stations do have good fuel. In Jacksonville, Dorsina Drakeford, First Coast News, on your side.
Several homes and businesses across the First Coast now cleaning up from Irma. Flooding, collapsed trees, you name it, you've probably got it. That means you may be contacted by contractors who do not always have your best interests in mind. First Coast News' Rob Nesbitt live on your side with tips on how you can protect yourself this morning. Rob?
Lewis, you can spot them from a mile away, and the most important piece of advice I can give is to ignore the people who knock at your door. One sign you're being scammed: if a contractor shows up in a truck with no company name or telephone number, the best way to find a legitimate company is by going to the Better Business Bureau, Angie's List, or Home Advisor, and read the reviews. Don't just go by their rating. Your best bet is to cross-reference the reviews and Google their name. You should get at least 3 quotes in writing. And make sure the person you pick is registered with the Department of Business and Professional Regulations. Before any work begins, make sure you get their estimate approved by your insurance company. You'll want to watch out for contractors who say their claim specialists offer to deal directly with your insurance company. Do not pay for the full job in advance. Only a third at the most, and your best protection is to pay with a credit card or check, never cash. Final piece of scam advice: if they try to pressure you into signing right then and there without giving you time to think, walk away. They're not someone interested in keeping you as a customer. If you have more questions, email us at afterirma@firstcoastnews.com.
All right, good piece of advice there. Thanks for that, Rob. Your time, 6:07. So President Trump and congressional leaders appear to be closer to an agreement to extend protections for so-called dreamers here in America. And it might only be September, but Target is already getting ready for the holidays. How you can lend a helping hand, that's coming up in just 2 minutes.
Wow, our beautiful city, hard to believe 3 days ago, just ravaged by floodwaters here downtown. But we're getting there. The water is receding. We're still going to have higher than normal tides at times during the high tide cycles. But at this point, it's looking like, yes, the recovery continues, and we are First Coast strong. Good morning, 72 degrees. Today, the big concern, the heat and humidity. So check out Futurecast. Yes, we could pop a shower from Brunswick to Waycross today, especially late day. But it's not the rain, it's these temperatures. They're really going to come up into the middle to upper 80s, but a heat index well into the 90s. So we take a look at our after storm impacts today. It's the Santa Fe flooding, the big thing, heat, humidity hampering recovery, and thunderstorms, especially tomorrow. So on the Santa Fe, a record crest expected as we go into Friday, over 36 feet. We've never seen that before. And then you check out the Black Creek and Middleburg. The news is much better. 16.9 feet falling, closer to normal by tomorrow, so folks can get back home. Also the St. Mary's McClenny. Now this is a much slower fall at about 21 feet this morning, but look at the Friday forecast, down to 17 feet below where it impacts people. Big weekend outlook. we got to get through some storms first, and this could include strong storms on Friday. We'll take a close look at that. And your Jaguars, the first place Jaguars, that is, Lindsay, on Sunday. But how's it looking in that VyStar Credit Union Traffic Center?
Well, the Santa Fe flooding is causing a few delays, a few issues, and a few closures. So zooming on in, we are still watching I-75 to see if that will close because of the flooding of the Santa Fe River. It's already closed 2 bridges. Let's zoom in and show you where those are. One of them is on US 27. So if you're going to Lake City northbound, the detour will be at Northwest 9th Street. If you're going southbound to Gainesville, that detour will be in Fort White at State Road 47. The other bridge that we're talking about is US 41. If you're going to Lake City, that detour is going to be at the Winn-Dixie. And then if you're going southbound to Gainesville, that detour is going to be at County Road 778. Keitha.
All right, thanks for that, Lindsay and Mike. Your time now is 6:12. 2 heroes have emerged after a deadly school shooting in Spokane, Washington. The Spokane sheriff says that a student brought 2 weapons to school, and the first one jammed as he tried to fire it, while another student tried to stop him. He was shot and killed with the second weapon. Now, the shooter then fired down the hallway, wounding 3 other students. A janitor finally ordered him to stop, and that young man was arrested by the school resource officer. The sheriff says that they're looking into whether revenge for bullying may have been the motive. Well, President Donald Trump may have reached a deal with the top Democrats to protect the so-called Dreamers. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer announced the deal after dinner with the president last night. Well, they say it would extend protections for undocumented immigrants brought here as children, and money for a border wall is not a part of the agreement. While the White House quickly tweeted that excluding money for a border wall was, quote, not agreed to. Well, if you're looking for a job, Target is hiring. The retail giant wants to add 100,000 temporary employees to help with the holiday shopping season. Well, that's up from the 70,000 the store hired around the same time last year. Target also plans to hire 4,500 people to pack and ship online orders at its warehouse as it fights to compete with Amazon and Walmart. Well, make it a double. 2 babies were born at the same New Jersey Burger King in just 2 days. This is pretty cool. The first set of parents were on their way to the hospital when they got stuck in traffic, so they pulled into the parking lot and called 911. Well, the healthy baby boy was born 10 minutes later, and then the very next day, the same paramedics and police officers were called to the same Burger King for another woman in labor. What's it about those burgers? So they thought it was a joke at first, but they helped to deliver a second healthy baby boy, another baby boy, in the back seat of a car. That's pretty cool. I'm glad all the babies are healthy as well.
And adorable.
Yeah,
like all babies
so.
are beautiful, don't get me wrong. But those were 2 cute babies.
But you know what I'm thinking about? What's going to happen in about 9 months? Because you know what happens after all these hurricanes,
Don't
right?
get me started, Keitha. I know
That big
it.
old baby boom. Can't wait for it.
We will be doing those stories for sure.
We will.
Thank you so much. 6:14 is your time. Coming up on Good Morning Jacksonville, JEA is working to restore power to thousands of people after Hurricane Irma. How the storm compares to others. Do a little research for you. Up next. And the Santa Fe River is rising. What it could mean for people heading back to Florida after having evacuated.
You're watching Good Morning Jacksonville.
Thank you for waking up with us on this Thursday morning, September 14th. Your time now is 6:17. Well, Hurricane Irma knocked down hundreds of trees across the region, resulting in thousands of people left without power. Well, JEA says its main priority is restoring power to the essentials like hospitals, police departments, restaurants, and schools. Residential, that comes after that. Now, Foreman Christopher Richardson says that they've learned from lessons from the past storms like Matthew and Dora.
Please be patient. This is the worst one I've ever been through here. My dad went through Dora in '67 as a lineman, or 60, I think it was 64. I can't remember exactly the dates of it. At the time, that was the worst one. This is the worst surge and everything we've had since. And wind-wise, this doesn't even compare to Matthew. This is just a ton worse.
Now, at last check, just under 85,000 people are still without power. Remember, these numbers are fluctuating. We're checking back as soon as we possibly can. And coming up at 6:30, we're going to speak with Jerry Boyce from JEA about the process and the timeline of bringing all of the power back turning it back on.
Take a visit down towards Alachua County in Gainesville. Santa Fe River right there, beautiful river, nearing its peak though and threatening to shut down I-75 about 60 miles southwest of Jacksonville, again just north of Gainesville. Now in this drone video, you can see just how close the water is to that bridge. Usually a much higher clearance there on that bridge. Other bridges in the area closed already due to those high waters. Officials urging residents that live near or along the Santa Fe River to evacuate. And if it does flood, it could affect people returning to Florida after Irma. That's because 75 certainly could flood over, could close, and that's the main lifeline getting down to Miami to get to that turnpike even eventually. So
that would be rerouted toward Jacksonville, which could cause big issues here. You saw how close that water was to the bridge there. Unfortunately, it's another 5 feet rise, a 5-foot rise as we head through today into Friday. So big issues, it looks like, for today, tomorrow, into the weekend in that area. Let's take a look at the river levels. It's risen over 30 feet. 30 feet. Think about that since Irma, and unfortunately another 5 feet to go Friday, which is a record crest. We take a look at better news on the Black Creek, finally falling below where it affects people and homes, down to 16.9 feet and closer to normal by Friday. And the news is good in beautiful McClenny. That's right, on the St. Mary's, we have 21 feet, but a slow fall, but it should be below where it affects homes and people by Friday, a forecast of 17 feet. Today, yes, heat hampering the recovery efforts, feeling like the middle to upper 90s as early afternoon, 1-2 o'clock. There could be a pop-up shower, but I think tomorrow is the best chance of rain. So if you're in Folkestone to Brunswick, Jekyll Island, watching for a quick shower today. Tomorrow, as the sea breeze works in, I-95 west, there could be some real gusty storms. Don't like to see that. Some wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour and some brief heavy downpours. So not a good combination. Keep that in mind. Make sure you mitigate. Make sure everything's tarped and really just anchored down, because we could have some strong storms tomorrow. Now, Jose, there's still rumors around town it's coming. I don't see it. I still see it curving back to the north. If there is any area to watch it that it could do any surprises with, it would be New England at this point, but not us, not this time. Yes, so for the weekend, we're talking about getting through those Friday storms, which could be strong, and then decreasing showers Saturday. Look at these temperatures. Not bad, in a beautiful day for the first place Jaguars, Linz. And yes, we're First Coast strong in the sunshine on Sunday. Now, how's it looking in the VyStar Credit Union Traffic Center?
Locally, Mike, our roads are not doing too bad. We just have that one emergency construction on the Browns Creek Bridge that is near Heckscher Drive. That will take you to Amelia Island. We'll talk about that here coming up in about 10 minutes. Southbound 95 from State Road 200 to 295 will take you 10 minutes if you're coming from the south. County Road 210 to 295 will take you 6 minutes on I-95 North. A little bit of a slowdown getting onto base at NAS Jack, slowing down to about 20 miles an hour. Before that, it's about 50. Your bridge, your Buckman Bridge, is looking pretty good this morning. 10 minutes northbound from 95 to Blanding. Another 10 minutes if you're going the opposite direction from Blanding to 95. Keitha.
Thanks for that, Lindsay. It's now 6:21. So you know the saying, go big or go home. And that's exactly what Tesla is doing. The electric car industry is ever changing. What the company's doing now, we're going to fill you in right after this break. GMJ's back in 2 minutes.
Thank you, Matt Grana. At 6:26, here's what you're watching tonight on NBC 12. At 8 o'clock, you've got American Ninja Warrior, one of the greatest shows ever made. Then Chicago Fire at 10. And be sure to stay up with us for your late local headlines with Anthony and Heather. First Coast News at 11 o'clock.
All right, so we all know Tesla's leading the industry in electric cars, and next month it plans to unveil the Tesla Semi.
A semi?
Yeah.
What?
Why
The
not?
launch date is a little later than anticipated, but that's okay. Elon Musk, you take your time with that semi. CEO Elon Musk tweeted this Wednesday saying the unveiling and test drive is tentatively scheduled for October 26 in Hawthorne, California. The Tesla Semi even calls it a beast. So my thing is, I guess obviously electric, but Tesla is so big in the self-driving thing now.
That's interesting.
Self-driving semi?
Why not?
Why? Well,
We'll
because
see.
you don't want a semi driving one. You never know. You
We'll
just
see
never
what
know.
happens, right?
Right.
Oh boy. All right. Like you said, go big or go home. Coming up on Good Morning Jacksonville, just ahead at 6:30. Well, we're talking with JEA about the power outages concerns that you're having and what's next. When will your power be restored? And the Jaguars are weighing in on the damage ahead of Sunday's home opener. Good Morning Jacksonville returns in just about 2 minutes.
Look at that water run. That is
from First Coast News. This is Good Morning Jacksonville.
Well, welcome in. This is going to be a big day for folks in Glenn County. In just about 2 hours' time, they're finally going to get to go home to Glenn County. Man,
what
it's been
a moment. We know an evacuation order was put in place before the storm. But again, at 8 o'clock, residents can begin to come back home. But we are warning them, be cautious because of all the damage there after the storm.
It's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
We know tornado warnings throughout that area, my goodness. And we know many of you still without power this morning and wondering when it is going to come back on.
In just a few minutes, we're going to be speaking with Jerry Boyce of JEA. We're going to get some answers for you. Again, that's coming up in just a couple of minutes.
Well, in neighboring Camden County, Georgia, still left cleaning up this mess. It used to be a dock sitting just a few feet out there. Now just a pile of lumber. We'll have more on what people here went through during the storm, as well as what's left to do in the coming days.
Thank you, Alex. And we're watching areas like St. Simon's and the cleanup in St. Mary's, where it looks like EF1 tornado damage. So you check that out with Alex this morning. And for today, we're watching the heat. It's much warmer as you walk outside. You feel that humidity, thick air mass, 74 degrees in Arlington. So this could hamper cleanup out there. Here's our beautiful Riverwalk. Yeah, ravaged by Irma. So runners, we got to give that runner index just a 6 because of debris and heat. Temperatures quickly moving up to near 90 degrees by noon. A heat index in the middle to upper 90s. So as we look at this with precision, just a 20% chance of a shower for most of us, including Duval, St. John's, Clay, and Putnam. A heat index of 97. But as you go up into Georgia, we're concerned about Camden, Glenn, Charlton County. There could be some late day rain spreading in. We'll time that out coming up. But first, let's get to Lindsay waking you up on the right side. Linz, good to see you in the Five-Star Credit Union Traffic Center.
Hey, good morning, Mike. Good morning to all of you. Hope things are going well on this Thursday. On the roads, not too many issues, except if you're going towards Amelia Island. We have that Browns Creek Bridge closure. It's on Heckscher Drive. All lanes there are closed. Good news, though, this morning, the St. John's River Ferry is open, so that'll make that detour a little bit easier. Or you can just take State Road 200 and then go all the way across and use the Shave Bridge. Other than that, though, things are looking pretty good on the roads this morning. If anything changes, though, I'll let you know. Keitha.
Thanks for that, Lindsay. Well, Hurricane Irma brought some heavy winds, we know, knocked down trees, folds all across the First Coast. But this morning, many of you are still without power.
No kidding. All right, Jerry Boyce with JEA is here with us. Good morning, Jerry. So very busy, and I know you're up early, sleepless nights. Getting a lot of calls from viewers. Love to know the latest from you. What can you tell us?
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're in day 3 now of recovery from this storm. Approximately 200,000 of our customers who were out are now back in. So we are making headway. At the height of the storm, we had about 280,000 of our customers without service. We're at about 83,000 right now. We did have crews work through the night. We have actually more crews from out of town coming in today. So we'll have approximately 1,000 electric personnel working in the field to restore service. Issues that we're dealing with, there's still areas that are flooded, and we cannot restore service there yet. We also have areas of heavy tree debris, and we're working through that. With all of these folks out in the field, it means that we have to be extra careful with safety. So we're going to methodically work as safely as we can. I'm happy to report that there have been no major injuries while we've been out in the field restoring service.
Good, good. That's good to know for sure. Jerry, I want to ask you about this because there was some confusion about the outage maps. We were receiving several calls and emails. I'm hoping that you're aware of this situation as well. Some of the maps are showing that power was on in certain areas, but our customers or our viewers are saying that they were not. Are you aware of that issue?
So the map right now, in an outage situation, the map changes a little bit. And when you click on JEA.com and you go to the outage map, you'll actually see a page that pops up that explains that we don't give exact addresses. We give areas. So there might be an area that's without, and it doesn't show your particular road. What you need to do is log on to JEA.com and look at the status of your outage, and that will give you a clearer understanding. We've had calls of people who are concerned that they weren't on the outage map. The numbers are reflected, but the actual road might not be reflected on that. So again, log on to JEA.com and look at the status. We do have tickets. Now, if you are in a neighborhood and everyone has been restored but you, first thing you need to go check your panel box and make sure that you didn't flip the switch or the switch wasn't flipped, and turn that back on. And then if you don't have power, give us a call and we'll check that out. What we can do with many of our meters is we can actually ping the meter and see if if electric is getting there. And if it is, then the issue is on your side. I know I want to say 2004, this happened to my sister. Everyone in her neighborhood was on. She was not. It was that the circuit breaker had flipped and she had to go out there and just turn it back on.
So I know a lot of the times we've been interviewing through this, you talk about priorities. There are priorities. There are big things you've got to get: hospitals, schools, nursing homes, things like that. As far as you know, the big places, all hospitals back online through JEA?
Yes. As of yesterday morning, we had all of our priorities back on. We had all the schools. All the schools are energized. Now, they might have some stuff to do on their side, but all schools have been, all hospitals. There were some remaining nursing homes that we worked on yesterday. So, yes, all the major priorities, critical customers have been taken care of, and now we're working through the neighborhood.
All right, Jerry Boyce, JA, thank you so much. I know it is impossible to give a specific timeline, but I will say this in a moment of levity here. If you've been watching your television at all, Jerry, I'm growing a beard in solidarity of those who are without power. I will not shave until everyone has it back. So just so you know, when you get a hot shower, we'll be ready to go. Jerry, thank you so much.
He's serious, Jerry. You should see it.
I'm ready to go. It is happening. Oh, my gosh, that sounds almost negative, Keitha.
Yeah, well.
Thank you so much, Jerry, for your time. We appreciate it. I know it's been sleepless nights. All right, 6:37 is your time. The Jaguars went back to work Wednesday after returning home from Houston victorious. The team understands that sports has a very unique way of supporting our healing process following a crisis. It's just a nice distraction. The team says it's ready to help rebuild the River City now.
I know us as a team, are thinking and praying for everybody involved, and I know, my foundation personally is going to get involved and do some stuff, and I'm sure some other guys will as well.
I don't think anybody here was directly affected by it as bad as, it could have been, but praying for those families that were.
You guys stay strong, and know that we're here with you. I was very impressed to see, the team owner donate $1 million and donate tickets. That was very commendable. That's pretty cool.
And tomorrow on Good Morning Jacksonville, our Jags insider, you see his Twitter handle there. That's Mike K. He'll be here to talk about our Jaguars, the home opener Sunday against the Titans. So tweet at Mike_E_K if you have any questions for tomorrow, and we'll answer them right here on your morning show, Good Morning Jacksonville.
All right, surveying the damage, President Trump will be on his way to Florida today, where he'll visit, and we know he'll meet with different folks to try to figure out what's next, how he can help in the recovery process. And the weekend is almost here. Mike is up next with a look at some rain. Yeah, folks, rain is headed our way. We're going to fill you in when GMJ returns in just 2 minutes.
Good morning. Yes, we're watching today the big weather story, watching that heat and humidity. In fact, just talking to Lou here, he's got the beard going, and he's still cleaning up outside in his yard, and I've got the chainsaws in my neighborhood. It's going to get hot and humid, so we had a little break in that heat, but today, not the case. We got a heat index close to 100. A trough of low pressure is moving away, so today's about the heat, watching the Santa Fe River, and then tomorrow, this is actually Irma that became engulfed in this trough, actually leftovers from Irma, bringing us heavy rain tomorrow and maybe even a severe weather threat. So my big concern is, yes, weather hampering cleanup, first with the heat today, strong storms tomorrow, damaging wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour, lightning and heavy rain of 1 inch plus. So that will slow the cleanup process. Make sure you enable those notifications on our First Coast News app, and we've got you. Now, Lindsay, today a hot one, but we do have drying out and drier conditions for the weekend for the Jags. So some good news there.
All right, sounds good, Mike. Good morning to all of you. Things on the road not doing too bad. However, if you take a look at the road, you can probably guess where I'm going to zoom into, and that would be just before the Buckman Bridge on 295. We just got a crash. It's southbound I-295 West. Just before US 17. The right lane there is blocked and it's already starting to cause some delays. This is an area that we see heavy traffic in the morning, so probably will cause some issues this morning. I'll let you know though. One other issue that we're working on or watching very closely is I-75 that could close because of the Santa Fe River flooding. So that's something we'll definitely keep an eye on. 2 bridges are closed in that area, 27 and 41. So we'll talk a little bit more about those coming up. Lewis.
Thank you, Lindsay. We talk about First Coast Strong. I want to show you First Coast Strong right now. A group of Girl Scouts in Julington Creek and St. John's Forest put the word out, and they filled the school bus you see right here with supplies for relief in Hurricane Irma in 24 hours, less than, and they got it all together. These supplies were for the Hastings community specifically, and those who got hit so hard down there. Perfect example. There they are. Great work. Being First Coast Strong, and I would love it if you'd share how your community is doing it as well. Post on social media, use that hashtag First Coast Strong so we can see it. We put it right on here on television and share it as well. And this is a little lighthearted moment. This is actually debris cleanup in my very own neighborhood, and I want to share this as well. Just all the neighborhood kids coming together, helping out. The debris cleanup became a makeshift hayride.
Is that Ollie with the helmet
on? It was
on?
Oliver with the helmet on. That man's not riding the four-wheeler without a helmet. I'm sorry, I probably made him look silly. And then there they go right there. They're all chipping in, helping out the neighbors, and we'd love it if you would send in any videos like this, make us smile. Hashtag First Coast Strong.
Yeah, that made us smile this morning. It's great to see. All right, folks, it's now 43 minutes past the hour. Well, he called it satire. The Secret Service, they called it a threat. What the so-called most hated man in America said about Hillary Clinton that just landed him in jail, that's coming up in your power block of nonstop news in just 2 minutes. And welcome back. It's time for your power block of nonstop news before Good Morning America and the Today Show takeover. Well, former pharmaceutical company CEO Martin Shkreli is back behind bars. He was out on bond, but a New York judge called him a danger to the public after a Facebook post offering $5,000 for a lock of Hillary Clinton's hair. Well, he is now in a maximum security prison until sentencing for security fraud in January. Well, today President Trump will travel to southern Florida surveying the damage Irma left behind.
Made an announcement, did it on Twitter Wednesday, saying he would meet with members of the Coast Guard, FEMA, as well as first responders. Governor Rick Scott is also expected to join him down there as well in the Naples area. And the people in St. Mary's now banding together to clean up after all the damage that Irma left behind. First Coast News' Alex Ositis live and on your side this morning with more on what neighbors in Camden County are doing to rebuild there all along that beautiful waterfront. Alex?
Lewis, it's a lot different look this morning out in St. Mary's. It is still beautiful, sun coming up, but some things that you'll notice missing is the dock here at the marina. This is the piles of wood that we found just piled up out in front here. And, you know, if you look back there, it's a little hard to see, but that mast sticking up between the trees, well, the boat is submerged. The only thing sticking up is that mast. So a lot more cleaning up to do here in St. Mary's. But, you know, it's power outages and gasoline shortages, as well as the stressed sewer system here that these folks are having to deal with before they can get back to a normal life. And we actually did see some open gas stations along I-95, as well as one having a truck there filling them up. So that's some good news. But issues around the county here have schools closed at least through the end of the week, possibly more. And then over in neighboring Glynn County, the same situation there. We'll get to them in just a second with more, but they are still having to clean up over there. Major roads passable this morning, but neighbors spent hours yesterday just cleaning up, picking up debris and trees that had prevented them really from getting a closer look at their home. So we spoke with one woman here in St. Mary's about that storm that hit, and here's what she had to say about it approaching.
At one point I heard the chimney cap go off and take across the yard, and there's limbs and branches and sticks and, you know, everything coming down at once.
Now in St. Mary's, you know, people have been able to come and see this damage firsthand, something that isn't been the case over in Glynn County. Well, this morning, Glynn County is going to be reopening at 8 o'clock, and we'll be there bringing you the latest. Stay with us at noon when we have an update on that. So, of course, we'll be talking with folks over there. Live in St. Mary's, Alex Ositis, First Coast News on your side.
Stand by. And when it comes to gas, it was definitely a rush to the pumps. You might have seen this during Hurricane Irma. These bags here, even Saran Wrap, saying that these are out of order, which means most, if not all, gas stations are closed and some are just now opening back up. The problem comes if gas station owners didn't shut down the pumps properly before they left. If they didn't, there's a potential that there could be water in that gas or there could be sediments at the bottom. And that's not a good thing for your car, as you obviously know. So state inspectors are making their rounds, making sure that that does not happen to you. Now, here's what you can look for to catch the problem before it does too much damage to your wallet or to your vehicle. Your car's engine could be sluggish, can make a noise when it starts, or it can hesitate to start, or you could even see your engine light come on. Those are things that you need to know in order to know that you got to get that checked out. You can file a complaint, though, with the state if you think that you've run into this issue at 1-800-HELP. FLA. That's 1-800-HELP-FLA. State inspectors are standing by for those calls, and we don't want those effects of Hurricane Irma to still impact your life now, so make sure you're very careful at these gas stations. In Jacksonville, Dorsina Drakeford, First Coast News on your side.
You can spot them a mile away, and the most important piece of advice I can give is to ignore the people who knock at your door when it comes to contractors. I don't want to hurt legitimate contractors, but the people showing up are either not from here, don't have a client base, or are new to this, and you do not need to be their guinea pig. One sign you're being scammed: if a contractor shows up in a truck with no company name or telephone number. The best way to find a legitimate company is by going to the Better Business Bureau, Angie's List, or Home Advisor and read the reviews. Don't just go by their rating. Your best bet is to cross-reference the reviews and Google their name. You should get at least 3 quotes in writing and make sure the person you pick is registered with the Department of Business and Professional Regulations. Before any work begins, make sure you get their estimate approved by your insurance company. You want to watch out for contractors who say they're claim specialists and offer to deal directly with your insurance company. Do not pay for the job in advance in full, only 1/3 at the most, and your best protection is to pay with a credit card or check, never cash. Final piece of advice: if they try to pressure you into signing right then and there without giving you time to think, walk away. They're not someone interested in keeping you as a customer. If you have questions, email us at afterirma@firstcoastnews.com.
Rob, thank you. Your time is 6:51. So he's already lost his job as a paramedic. Now the officer caught on camera arresting a Utah nurse may be fired from the police force as well. An internal affairs report on the incident was released last night, extremely critical of both Detective Jeff Payne and the commander who ordered him to arrest the nurse. She'd refused to draw blood from an unconscious patient without a warrant or consent. Both men are already on leave. The report says they used extremely poor professional judgment. They do have 20 days to respond to this, and then the department will decide whether they should be fired or not. Well, more than 36 states have now joined a probe into how Equifax handled its massive data breach. Congress also looking into the hack, which exposed the personal information of 143 million Americans. And the company's CEO now will testify before a House panel next month. Cybersecurity experts say every American on Equifax perhaps could be impacted by this, every single American. So you're going to want to check all of your data. There's also a new push to get rid of Social Security numbers that we're going to talk about as well, all to protect your security. That'll be on the Today Show, which begins at 7 o'clock, so stay right there. Well, a little unexpected water, not enough to cool off the red-hot Cleveland Indians. If you've been keeping up with this baseball team, for heaven's sake, try about 4-1 in the 5th, when the left field sprinklers suddenly came on, soaking the warning track and a few of the Detroit Tigers players there. The game was delayed for a few minutes. The Indians do go on to win their 21st straight game, which is a new American League record. They are red hot. It's unbelievable.
You know what I'm thinking about right now, Lou? Do you remember when we were live at the Jag Stadium at Everbank Field?
I do, and I know what you're
folks,
thinking.
let's fill you in. The sprinkler system went on as Katie Jeffries and Mike Pranley were doing their weather and traffic together. Just came out of nowhere. Mike screamed like a girl and took off running.
That's what happened.
It was great.
That is a fact. I can verify that.
Let's take a live look outside right now this morning. Ooh, what a gorgeous shot. This is the First Coast, folks. This is where you live. For more on your forecast, though, we're going to turn things over to our storm expert, meteorologist Mike Pranley.
All right, good morning. And yes, as we take a look, a little deja vu for us out there with the sprinklers. But yeah, we're going to need those sprinklers to cool us off today. The heat is back, and I'm concerned about the heat hampering cleanup because we're talking about a heat index today of 97. Now look at the low rain chances across Duval, Clay, Putnam, St. Johns County, including St. Augustine, Palatka to Keystone. But once you get up toward Charlton County, Camden and Glenn County, where there was likely a tornado in St. Mary's, as Alex Ositis showed us today, higher chance of some afternoon rain to go along with that heat. So after storm impacts, Santa Fe River still leads the pack here. Let's take a look. River level expected to rise 5 more feet, and it's already up to the bridges. So more road closures in that area expected, not getting back to normal until next week. Better news on the Black Creek and St. Mary's. It continues to fall, so folks can get back in their homes the next couple of days. The big forecast feature this trough of low pressure, still guided by the remnants of Irma. Pretty amazing. Then we have Jose lurking offshore, but watch what happens as this trough moves our way. Could touch off some stronger storms Friday, but it helps to turn Jose, oh, say can you see, out to sea. It looks like and away from our area. Maybe a close call, though, a little farther north. But if you're at home, it's looking like, yes, the heat today. The storms tomorrow, maybe some wind gusts over 50 miles per hour. So have your weather apps handy. Not the news we're wanting with the cleanup, but notice we do improve for the weekend. Riverside Arts Market back open. Lower rain chances and first place weather for our first place Jags on Sunday. Going to make that 2 in a row, right, Linz? And how's it looking now in that ViStar Credit Union Traffic Center?
Well, roads aren't too terrible, but we are starting to see some building issues as we head into the 7 o'clock hour. One of those issues is going to be on I-295. No surprise here, but it's actually before the Buckman Bridge. There's a crash. They moved it onto the shoulder. It was in the right lane, moved it onto the shoulder. Remember that move over law. If you see any law enforcement officers out there, slow down or move over. So right now, just that right shoulder is blocked before 17. Buckman Bridge looking not too bad. It's only slowing you down about 2 minutes so far if you're going over towards I-95 from Blanding Boulevard. I-95 is looking pretty good. 9 minutes southbound, 13 minutes northbound, and we're starting to see a little bit of a slowdown on I-10 as you approach the downtown area. 7 minutes from 295 to the 95 ramps usually takes you about 4. Lewis.
Lindsay, thank you. It's 6:56, so let's wrap up this Good Morning Jacksonville broadcast now. An update for all you parents and students out there on school closures. Let's go to Georgia. We're in Pierce County, up in Blackshear. Classes begin again today. Brantley, Charlton, Camden, Glenn, and Ware counties, though, you will be closed through the weekend beginning back on Monday.
All right, and right here in Florida, Nassau County is closed today and will resume classes tomorrow. Clay, Duval, Putnam, St. John's, and Union are closed through Friday, and Baker County schools are closed through Monday.
I know they're enjoying that.
Yeah.
That little break, that little week-long break.
Yeah, you enjoy it until those hurricane makeup days hit you on the backside. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, the kids, I like the kids helping with the cleanup. That was great seeing Ollie out there. And today, more good cleanup weather, except hot weather to go with it. So make sure you take breaks. Find that cool spot. For those without power, make sure they have an air-conditioned spot. And then storms return Friday and a much better weekend for the Jags.
Just watch out for that accident before the Buckman Bridge, and then just slowing down going into the downtown area on I-10. Normal building for this time of the morning. Actually, a little bit less building, so things are looking all right.
Let's reemphasize what Mike just said. It's going to be hot and humid today. Remember those without power today. Have a good one.